I am 28 years old, and I voted for Trump, and I would vote for him again.
Okay. And why do you support Donald Trump?
Well, for me, let me put this into the simplest terms I can, I guess. I am a previous liberal. I did vote for Biden over Trump. And then over the years, through various podcasts, watching debates like yours and Charlie Kirk's, uh, some sides just started to make a little bit more sense to me. And uh, and yeah, that is why I support Donald Trump is because I've seen some of the rhetoric that the side that I was on said about about people like conservatives, and I didn't agree with it. I didn't agree with
Such as?
like calling them fascists.
Okay. Well,
That was
actively, Trump is
that.
a fascist. Like, how do you define fascism?
Well,
Okay. Well, I can't hear you when you swipe out of the app. Just letting you know.
sorry about that. Is my phone's weird.
It's okay.
Uh, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm not
Yeah,
exactly a
fascism.
professional debater or whatnot.
Like, what do you think fascism is? That's okay.
I would say fascism is. I'm trying to put this in my own words. Somebody who does the things that they want to do despite the law contradicting that.
Okay. That's not how I would define fascism, but Trump has been a fascist based upon that definition. He's violated Supreme Court orders on multiple occasions. He doesn't think that he needs to uphold due process rights, which is ingrained in the Constitution. He's passed an
Right,
executive order to put people in prison for years for burning the American flag, which is a violation of the First Amendment according to the Supreme Court.
right. But what I was getting at was I wasn't talking about Donald Trump specifically, but supporters of Donald Trump. They are being called fascists, they're being called racists, they're being called Nazis without any proof that they are such just because they say they voted for Donald Trump.
Well, they're definitely in support of someone who's a fascist, right? Like I don't think every single person who's a Trump supporter has a defined idea and ideology of
I,
fascism that they could specifically even reference. I think most of them don't
I
understand it, but
apologize.
they're willing to support someone in despite of it.
I missed the first half of what you said because somebody was trying to call me. I
Okay.
apologize about that.
That's fine. What I'm saying, I don't think that every single Trump supporter, like I would say, like understands what fascism is and like specifically self-prescribes as a fascist. I just think it is the case that they're willing to support someone who's a fascist because of misinformation, disinformation. They probably don't even know what fascism is, right? So like things like that, right? And I think that if you explain it to someone, oftentimes they will turn away from it. But there are a lot of Trump supporters that genuinely are fascists.
So, could you give me your definition of fascism?
Yeah. So I use the 14 characteristics of fascism specifically that goes through powerful and continuing nationalism, disdain for the recognition of human rights, identification of enemies slash scapegoats as a unifying cause, supremacy of the military, rampant sexism, controlled mass media, obsession with national security, religion and government are intertwined, corporate power is protected, labor power suppressed, disdain for the intellectuals and the arts, obsession with crime and punishment, rampant cronyism and corruption, and the fraudulent elections. All right. So, and I can
Okay,
go through and
now,
explain each one of those. You have to hit most of them in order to be a fascist. Just having one of them doesn't necessarily mean you're a fascist, but them all combined together.
okay, so let me ask you this. Do you think that Charlie Kirk was a racist, Nazi fascist?
Do I think he's a racist? Yes. Do I think he was a fascist? Yes.
Okay, let's start with the racism. How do you think he was racist?
He literally said that. I mean, I don't want to even have to go and litigate through all this, but he literally went into a airplane and said that he hopes that the person who's black, who's the pilot, would be qualified just because they're a black person. He's brought up
Actually, that's not true.
the. What do you mean that's
He
not
did
true?
not
That's
say that. He
yes, he
did not
did.
say that because they were black.
Yes, he did.
He said that because of DEI.
So again, because he thinks because DEI leads to people who are less qualified getting into those positions, he's assuming that he hopes that he's like, I hope they're qualified when it is the case that they're black. That's obviously a racist like determination. If you don't think that's racist, well then you're upholding the same type of ideology that I would say is racist.
Right, but he's not
Right?
saying
DEI
that
does not mean less qualified.
simply because. No, he's not saying. He was not saying that simply because they were black.
Yes,
But
he was.
he was allowed to. No, because he was allowed to have an opinion on the fact that I
A
really
racist
hope.
opinion.
Again, you said that he said that he hopes. He didn't say, "Oh, that person's not qualified because he's black." He's saying, "I really hope that."
If you question whether or not someone's qualified if you question whether or not someone's qualified based upon them being black, that's definitely racism. Okay, and you can sit there and try to defend it all you want, but everyone here knows that's racism. Like genuinely, we all know it. Okay. Then you're defending racism. So like you're sitting there like, oh my god, why are people calling us racist and fascist? Well, because you are, right? Like you genuinely are. Like you're supporting and defending it. So why are people calling it? Because it's applicable to you.
No, I don't agree. See, the way I took that when he said that was, and again, in your words, he said, "I hope." And I would think the same thing.
That's obviously a racist statement. To question the qualifications of someone just because they're black is definitely racism.
No, not because they're black. Because of DEI. I would sit there and I would say, I hope.
Oh my god.
I would.
What DEI policy put people into positions that were unqualified that were black?
I'm not all too familiarized with that. What I'm saying is, it is a logical thought to sit there and say, man, I really hope that this guy has this job.
No.
Because
just based upon them being black. Just based upon them being black. You can try to justify and say, oh, because of DEI or something like that.
I hope that's
no. He looked at them and he saw that they were black and he said, oh, I hope that they're qualified. Boy, I hope that they're qualified because they were black.
Now, again, I'm not all too familiar on DEI, but what I do know is that DEI is hiring more so for race other than qualification.
No, you're misunderstanding. It's specifically to provide interviews and opportunities to people that have historically not gotten those opportunities because of racist determinations in job hiring. So it's about extending the job pool to people who are qualified that have historically not been able to get into those positions, even though they're qualified. And like would you justify saying the same thing with a woman specifically? Like when we were implementing policies specifically to extend women's access to being able to be pilots, would you say, boy, I hope she's qualified just because you saw a woman as your pilot? Would you think that's misogynistic?
Well, like I said previously.
No. Would you think that's misogynistic to say, boy, I hope she's qualified? Because she's a woman?
Because she's a woman?
No, because DEI has helped women, right?
But also, I wouldn't call that misogyny because I'm not saying that I hate the fact that it's a woman. But again,
no, but that particular statement is out of that particular statement is out of hatred from women. It's out of hatred of women and seeing women as lesser than. That's the indication.
No, I don't agree. Like I said, I would say the same thing for any pilot, whether they were black, white, Arab, whether they were a man, woman,
that's not. We're not talking about. We're not even talking about you. We're talking about what Charlie Kirk said and saying that it was obviously racist, and you are just failing to acknowledge it. I mean, do you want to see what he also said about Mamdani? He literally called Mamdani a terrorist, right? We can also point to the fact that, I mean, in plenty of situations, right, that again he's defended Donald Trump's explicit racism, right? I mean, I don't know. Like, you guys also voted for a racist over a non-racist, and you're somehow questioning why people are calling you racist.
Now, let's say, for example, that Trump was racist. I know that you think he is. I don't. But let's say that he was racist or made racist comments. Does that make him less qualified to be a president? To do the job as a president?
Yes.
How so?
Because it is the case that, one, he hasn't acknowledged his racism. Two, he specifically is going to be more likely to engage in policies that would be harmful to people of marginalized identities specifically, right? That would obviously be something that we'd want to point to. So definitely he's more likely to engage in racist policy, given the fact that he's okay with engaging in racism and not acknowledging that in the past. He hasn't acknowledged it. He has not changed his behavior. He's not advocated against it. He's continued to engage in the same behavior over and over again.
Yeah, I don't agree, and we might have just we might just be hitting a wall on this subject. I do have a little bit more time if you'd like to talk about any other subject other than racism or
okay,
fascism.
yeah. So can you name a single economic policy of Donald Trump's that he influenced to get passed that you think is good?
In economic policy, I'm not too familiar. Like I said, I'm not all too experienced with all of this, and this is my first debate, so I apologize for stuttering and not having all the facts prepared.
Do you have any policy that you support of Donald Trump's that you could mention?
So without knowing every single piece to this policy, one of the policies that I agree with that reflects on me personally is the big beautiful bill. With that specifically, the no tax on overtime.
Okay, so that aspect of the bill was definitely supported by Democrats. If you want to talk about the big beautiful bill, all of the tax cuts applicable to income earners under $400,000 a year, Kamala Harris supported and wanted to keep in place, and she didn't want to have the tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires. So she specifically was trying to advocate for and extend even tax cuts for working class Americans, including the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime deductions. They're not no tax overall. It's just a deduction, right? She definitely advocated for things that were applicable to income earners under $400,000, and then she wanted to increase taxes on income over $400,000 to then decrease the deficit and the debt.
So then why was that policy not implemented during the Biden-Harris term?
One, it relies on Congress. Two, the spending bill was specifically set for 2025. And they did get it through emergency COVID policy, the child tax credit put in place in 2021 through the American Rescue Plan, that when implemented, reduced childhood poverty by 45%.
Okay. All right, yeah, I can concede on some facts that maybe that was something that they supported, but with that also being said, Trump got that part done.
He got what done, sorry?
The no tax on overtime, like I said, that's what affects me directly.
Okay, but like you overall are going to have an increase in your taxes because tariffs have been implemented, and it will cause an increase to higher extent in terms of how much you're paying every single day for your groceries and for everything in your life, comparative to what would have happened under the Harris administration.
Not based on what I've seen. I've seen inflation go down.
Inflation's gone up since Trump got in office.
That's pretty crazy because the day that Donald Trump was elected, I was paying almost $5 a gallon in gas, and now I'm paying $2.30.
Gas is more expensive since Trump got in office. It's gone from 307 to 316 on a national average.
On a national average, okay. Yes. Well, I'm talking about things that directly affect like myself.
Yeah,
so
which
again,
you said gas does. So
again,
gas is more expensive since Trump got in office on a national average.
That's not true. That's not true.
That's from the Energy Information Administration.
Parker, would you agree that $5 is more than $2.30?
Obviously, but I don't think that you have a good recollection of time.
How am I paying more money for gas?
I think you have a bad recollection of time. Because if you look at national averages, prices have gone up, like genuinely. So it sounds more like you have a bad recollection of time.
How much were you paying for a gallon of gas last year?
I don't remember what the specific amount was last year.
Smaller than $2.30?
No, I live in California.
All right. So again, I don't expect you to remember the exact gas price a year ago to date.
That's why I look at the Energy Information Administration.
But based on your own memory, a year ago, how much would you say you were were you paying for a gallon of gas?
I
You're
would I
driving
would
down the street, you see the sign in front of the gas station. What's
for a
that price
full
say?
tank. It depends. That obviously depends on like the size of my tank, right? Which is
Well, I'm
obviously
not
I'm
asking
paying.
about a full tank. I'm asking about a simple gallon of gas.
I don't remember the gallon of gas. I probably remember the full tank, but I don't remember the gallon of gas.
I remember paying almost $5 a gallon. It has
I
gone
just I
down
don't
to
remember
two
the
dollars and
specific
thirty cents.
number. Yeah, I don't remember the
I'm not
specific number in
looking for
terms
a
of gallon
specific
of
number.
gas. I would
You can give me ballpark if you'd like. I'm sure you've got to remember how much you were paying a gallon of
My
gas.
memory is not
I can
so
tell
great, genuinely. It's not so
I
great.
can tell you I
Let's
can
just
tell
say it
you
was
right
over
now
four
during the
dollars. Let's just
first.
say it was probably over, probably around $4.20, maybe.
All right, and then how much is it now?
It's around $4.27, man.
Oh, okay. So Michigan was the only state that was affected by the gas prices. Then Michigan is just booming in gas.
So apparently, but the national average has gone up in price since Trump got in office. That's just reality. So
I'm sorry. Could you say that one more time? I got people
it's
blowing up
okay.
my phone.
It's just the reality that prices are higher in this country in terms of gas prices. Not even just gas prices, grocery prices, and plenty of the things in the economy. They've all become more expensive. Trump's tariffs have caused prices to go up.
I mean, I guess the proof is in the pudding, right? A year ago, I wasn't buying eggs because I wasn't paying $6 for a carton of eggs. I bought my first carton of
It
eggs
was
a
bird
couple
flu.
weeks ago for $2.
It was bird flu. Bird flu. Bird flu led to us having to kill chickens, which led to there being a lower amount of chickens producing eggs, which then led to eggs prices going up because there was a reduction in the supply of eggs. It has nothing to do with the president of the United States and everything to do with the fact that there was bird flu.
Right. So I was just using eggs as an example. My grocery list in general has gone down. The price, the bill on that has gone down. My cart is getting more full for the
Well,
same amount of money I was
I
spending
don't know how
a
this
year
is
ago.
happening. By the way, I don't know how this is happening for you that your gas prices are cheaper and that your grocery prices are cheaper when we look at the national average and that's gone up on both categories, by the way. And I go to the grocery store, it's definitely more expensive, right?
I would not agree. So you're sitting in front of a
Dude,
computer
apparently
right
he
now.
lives
So
in this magical area of the United States where everything is cheaper, dude. Imagine.
No, you're right. And you know what? I encourage anybody who is able to look it up. I'm not able to look it up right now because if I leave the live, then or go to Google, then I get out of the live. But I encourage
I just
anybody
won't
who's
hear
not
you.
on this call right now. Well, I'm saying in general because I can sit here and say it over and over again how much I'm paying, but you just don't believe me. So I
Of
encourage
course.
anybody to look up Detroit, Michigan, how much people are paying in gas right now.
Okay. All right. I mean, there's someone in from Michigan in my comment section that said, from Michigan here, I've never seen gas as cheap as $2.30 a gallon. Just today, gas went up to $3.29. I drive a lot and pay close attention. This guy's a liar. Thank you, Kayla.
Well, then apparently I do live in La La Land, right? According to your guys' what you guys are saying. Oh, that's so silly.
What
Give
do
me
you
a
mean?
break.
Like, yeah, I mean, you probably do. You live in Candyland where everything's cheaper, apparently.
No. I live in the downriver area of Detroit, where I guess apparently we're all privileged and we get cheaper gas than everybody in the United States right now.
Apparently, because gas prices and grocery prices have gone up in price, and apparently it's cheaper where you live, but nowhere else in the country. Right? Like,
I
you live
encourage
in the
everybody to go
he
and
lives in the
live in
promised land.
Detroit. Yep, I encourage everybody to move to Detroit because everything's cheaper here.
I just got sent a thing saying Detroit spends the most on groceries. Study finds.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of your comments here. Oh, look at that. New Jersey, $2.60.
Yeah, it says personal finance
235 here.
site. Personal finance site Wallet Hub looked at 100 of the largest
Oh,
cities to see what
268 a
percentage of
gallon
their
here.
listen. personal finance site Wallet Hub looked at 100 of the largest cities to see what percentage of the average household income is spent on common grocery items, and the analysis found that Detroiters spend a higher percentage of their incomes on groceries than residents in any other U.S. city, with a median cost of nearly 3.8%, while grocery prices were somewhat average despite having the 10th most expensive lettuce, the 17th most expensive tuna, according to Wallet Hub.
Well, then I guess I'm lucky that I live in La La Land. Then I encourage everybody to move to La La Land because things are cheaper here.
Well, I mean, like, again, I'm telling you what the national average is. Maybe where you live specifically, it's magical, and it's just that's not the case.
It's got to be magical in Kansas. Somebody said 285.
You understand that, like, 285 in reference to what? What was it under when Trump got in office?
296 here. That's way cheaper than the $5 we were paying.
You understand that's because of the fact that there were supply chain issues around the entire world, and also Trump signed a deal with OPEC to cut oil production. What happened to Trump drill baby drill? What happened to him drilling? I wanted him to drill like we've never drilled before. What happened to that?
Well, there's obviously got to be a lot of drilling going on somewhere if the gas is getting cheaper.
Yeah, I wanted gas to be 50 cents, bro. What happened? I thought he was going to drill baby drill. I thought he was going to be dictator on day one to drill baby drill.
That's crazy because back in Trump's first term, I remember paying $575 a month in rent for a 2-bedroom. I remember paying $1.50 a gallon in gas. I remember 24-hour Walmart.
What year is this? 1996, you said?
No. I said Trump's first term.
Trump's first term. Okay, and you think Trump causes prices to be less when he literally ran on policies to increase prices?
Are you telling me that Trump has nothing to do with inflation?
I'm saying Trump causes more inflation.
So Trump can only cause inflation, but he can't do anything to get the inflation down.
Well, no.
There's nothing he can do.
No, actually, the Federal Reserve deals with that. But yeah, there is. There are things that he could do to bring it down and to not impose tariffs. Wow. I know, right? Crazy thing. Don't impose tariffs and prices won't go up as much. Did you know that?
Sounds pretty crazy to me because imposing tariffs just means more money coming in.
What is a tariff?
I couldn't tell you the exact definition of a tariff. I imagine it's
so
like
how
a
do you know
tax.
it's bringing more money in if you don't even know what a tariff is?
Oh, because I was told that by liberals. back when Biden imposed tariffs on Russia when the war in Ukraine began.
No, those are sanctions, idiot.
Idiot. That's great. I thought we weren't going to all of that, right? I mean, we weren't going insults or anything like that. But
yeah,
I mean,
I
that's the problem that
genuinely
I run into when I
apologize.
debate
Like,
with liberals.
hey, dude, I genuinely apologize. I accidentally did that. Like, I'm actually serious. I genuinely accidentally did that. Like, I'm actually
Because,
not
I mean,
even joking with that. I genuinely I actually accidentally did that. Like, that was not an intentional thing.
Yeah, but you see, that's the problem that I run into when it comes to the debates that I have seen with liberals. For example, on Liberty Hangout with Caitlin Bennett, I see her giving facts to people like me, people who aren't too familiar with debating or
Tell Caitlin Bennett to
familiar
debate
with.
me.
Oh, that would be great, but I think I would rather see you debate Andrew Wilson on the Crucible.
I've already debated that guy a million times. He's useless.
Have you? Where can I find it? I will listen to it all day at work.
He's impossible to have a conversation with. He genuinely doesn't engage in dialogue.
How do you figure?
I've engaged in conversations with him, and he doesn't engage in the dialogue.
Right, I'm asking for examples.
Like, the last time we engaged in a conversation with him, I was asking him specifically why he thinks that being gay is wrong, because he kept claiming that it was wrong, and then he wouldn't answer the question. He purposefully didn't answer the question for, like, literally, like, 20 minutes. And was just trying to troll me. So he, like, purposefully doesn't engage in the conversation when he knows he's lost.
Well, I believe those are his religious beliefs. Would they not be?
Yeah, but we'd have to have a conversation about that in order to be able to get to that point. He didn't even engage in the dialogue. We can also talk about the fact that we engaged in an economic conversation specifically about his view on the Tax and Jobs Act and how I indicated a study from two Harvard economists, one liberal, one conservative, that indicated very small levels of growth, actually 0.04% per year, right? And it is the case that he didn't even engage with that. He just made me answer how much Midwest cost that was, and I was like, they didn't specify specifically for the Midwest, and then he like kept hyper fixating on that, acting like that's the biggest thing in the world, when we know that it'd be less than $8 to $16 billion per year, given that it would be the Midwest is just part of the United States.
Okay. All right. Uh, I do have one last question for you. Uh, Before I do go, we could debate on this for a couple more minutes if you have the time. Uh, do you think that the world is a better place now that Charlie Kirk is gone?
Why are you asking me a random question like that?
It
I
was one
think it
of
was
it, it,
I think murdering him was horrific and bad. Do I think that there's less bigotry in the world than racism? Yes. But this is a crazy thing for you to say. Like, genuinely. I was 30 to 40 feet away when that happened. Why would you ask me a question like that?
because it seems that liberals these days have been. It's really sickened me. Really, that's one of the things that has
What,
made
it
me
sickens
start
you?
getting
Like,
into debating more.
you just asked me
It
when I was
it
30 to 40 feet away. Is that not insensitive of you to go and do that? Yet you're going to sit here and you're going to
right,
parade about liberals being insensitive?
right.
My ass,
What?
dude.
No, 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 no. Oh man, if you could let me speak for a second.
Go
What
ahead.
I was getting at, what I was getting at is what I've seen from liberals these days is even the ones that are saying, "Yeah, it was a terrible, tragic thing." It seems to me like they were still silently celebrating it, and that's the part that sickens me.
You didn't even
Be-
look at my page, dude. Look at my page. Again, I was 30 to 40 feet away. Catch a drift on what the conversation is going about. I just told you I was there when it happened. Why can't you identify that maybe this isn't a conversation that I should be pressing Parker on to engage in when he has trauma associated with the event? You're literally parading about how liberals are being insensitive while doing something insensitive. Literally,
well,
do
I
you
apologize,
realize what you're doing
Parker.
right now? This is incredibly ironic.
It wasn't exactly my goal to offend you. I was not trying to hurt you in that form. The reason why I asked, I did not know that you were there, and I apologize that you had to be a witness to that. That's awful, and I couldn't imagine. I cried the day that he died. I couldn't imagine if how I'd feel if I was there. So I do apologize. I wasn't trying to be insensitive. The reason why I bring it up is because it gets brought up in most of the debates that I watch. It hurts. It hurts when I see people say things like, it was a terrible thing, but yeah, the world's a better place now. That hurts. So I wasn't asking you because I was trying to get under your skin or anything like that. I really do apologize about that. I was asking because I wanted to know how you felt about the topic. Again, I didn't know that you were there. I don't know if you were a supporter of his or not. I don't
I
know.
told you and you doubled down.
I
Like
double
I
down now.
genuinely like I literally told you and then you doubled down and keep asking about it. Like genuinely. Like do you remember that just happened like 10 seconds ago?
You're not. Look, man. I'm again. I wasn't trying to offend you. I was explaining why I asked. I
Okay.
wasn't asking you for an answer. Please don't give me an answer
Okay.
because
All right.
obviously it did affect you harshly, and I apologize for that. And had I known that you were there, and had I known that it did affect you harshly, I would not have asked.
Thank you.
So I apologize.
All right. So is there an actual point you want to bring up as to why you support Donald Trump or why you have an issue with liberals as a whole?
I do, but at this point, I do have to start getting ready for work. So I appreciate you for having me on. I appreciate your supporters for reacting to the things that I had to say, whether or not they agree or not. Uh, and yeah, I appreciate you having me on because I think that debating is and dialogue is the most important thing in this country that we could have right now. because the minute that we stop talking, it becomes violent. So I appreciate you for having me on. I would love to absolutely be on again. I will definitely do more research on the topics that we talked about, and I will I will further educate myself on both sides.
Okay,
Like I
for
said
sure.
before, I am a previous liberal, and now I do identify as leaning conservative, but that's just my take. And again, if you would have me on again, I would love to be on again. So thank you.
Alrighty, for sure. Have a good day.